Hi guys, so this isn't your typical video. I'm going to go into depth into a lot of interesting questions, especially the most important one, which is the importance of math in trading. So, as an intro, what is forex? And especially, it just means the foreign exchange market. That's all it means, foreign exchange. So, for example, if you're a tourist who's in a different country and you have your own national currency and you want to buy things in a in a different country, that exchange of money is what forex is. It also applies to international students. If you're an international student or you have a child who's living in another country, when you pay tuition, say you have shillings or you have rupees and you want to pay in rands, that exchange where you're paying for tuition in a different currency, that's the exchange. That's what we mean. So what do we mean when we say there are people who trade it and who make money out of it? What you're essentially doing is you're taking advantage of gains in one currency against losses in another, right? So you always have two pairs that are weighting against each other. So say you have a child who you're paying tuition for in a foreign country. If you're smart, you wait for the rand to drop, and then you'll pay for your tuition. So that gain you make, that extra small gain you make in paying when the rand falls or when the currency falls against the one you're holding, that's how people make the money. That's what we mean. So, for example, you'll have the rand against the US dollar. So it's always quoted, it's always got two currencies, one against the other. So, rand forward slash US dollar, euro forward slash US dollar. So, essentially, it's the strength of one pair against one currency against the other. And that's the whole game of it all. Think of it like a game, essentially, but it's not. So, that's essentially what it is. And as an example, say you have a grand with you, and usually the rand is at 15 rands to one US dollar. So that thousand or that grand you have is equivalent to 15K. So if you think that the US dollar is going to increase against the rand, what you do is you hold your K, and then if you hold, and then the value of the rand goes up to it goes down to 20 rand to one US dollar. You essentially, by just holding your K, you have now 20K, and you're holding 5K in rands profit. So that 5K that you make from just holding your US dollars, your grand in US dollar, or buying your US dollar, that 5K that I've just given the example of, that is the exchange they're trying to take advantage of. And is it a scam? No, it's not a scam. People are scammers, but not the industry. People in the industry are scammers, but not the industry. So you'll find the scammers who are selling you robots, selling you courses, and things like that. Nothing wrong with a course that's reasonably priced and that makes sense. But if you're making your entire living from selling courses and robots, that's where the scamminess comes out of it. And that's when people say it's a scam. It's the same thing with like medicine, the subs industry, people who sell supplements that actually don't actually benefit you or don't work, and glasses that don't work, eyeglasses that is, that doesn't make the medical industry a scam. It just means that there's scammers in the industry. And how do you sell something you don't own? That's a common question I've heard a lot of people ask. Like when I say short the rand, selling the rand. So then they ask, do you buy and then sell? And it's such an interesting question because I also had the same question, which is, how do you sell something you don't own? So when they quote one currency and another, so rand and US dollar, and I say sell the rand, what essentially you're doing is you're selling the rand but buying the US dollar at the same time, which is why you have two currency pairs quoted at once. So rand, US dollar, it means you're selling the rand and buying the US dollar. You're buying the other one. So you're selling the first one and you're buying the opposite one. And then if you're buying the first one, you're selling the second one. Essentially, that's the easiest way to explain how you're selling something you don't own. And then, do you have to pay for a course? I've always said you don't. It will take you a bit of time to learn, but essentially, you'll learn everything else. There's so much information online. You'll learn what everyone knows over time. So I don't think you should. Can you trade full time? I've always believed that you can't, simply because your performance will deteriorate because you spend a lot of time on your screen and you end up making more mistakes than actually doing good work. And a lot of the times, you will find that you either have to do something else on the side, like teaching, selling courses and robots and things like that, or even YouTube, in order to do it full time. So I've always said just alone it's very difficult to do it full time. Also because if you're doing it full time, what happens where you have 5 months losing trades for 5 months? What are you going to do? So that's why I said it's always impossible to do it full time, because you're going to have losing months and long stretches of losing months. You have to be doing something else, or well, you don't have to be doing something else, but you need something else to bring you your income. And you want to avoid day trading. By all means, avoid day trading. When they say 90% fail, they're usually referring to day traders. Um, that's obviously in the first 90 days. No one's a professional in the first 90 days. But essentially, if you avoid day trading, you'll go a long way. That will save you a lot of time and effort and money. And do you have to be good at math? I've always said no. Basic math is what's needed. Basic arithmetic is what you need. Percentages, risk to reward, inflation, just the basics. You don't really need to know uh, calculus and mechanics, and probabilities is important. So percentages, means, inflation, probabilities is very, very important. Stats, yeah, so stats and probabilities a bit, but not extreme, because you need to understand things like correlations and things like that. But it's not someone who has to be genius level, I wouldn't say.